Hi everybody, this is Victoria. Welcome back to another new episode of Discovering Art Together, and today we are going to learn about colors of the sunset. So we are going to jump into and see what are the color palettes more or less in order to create a beautiful looking sunset by learning it from this one particular old master called Albert Bierstadt, and he is a 19th century German-American painter, and we're going to learn from him and see what did he use in his beautiful romantic sunset paintings. So if you guys are ready, let's get started. This video is actually inspired by one of the recent art articles that I read from GEORGE Bothamley, and he has this weekly newsletter that's called Art Every Day, and I kind of had a new newsletter in my email and I was like, ooh, these paintings look really gorgeous, and it kind of centered off mostly on sunset. So that's why this week's video we're going to concentrate on see how to create sunset color palettes. So in order to kind of understand what would be the best color palette for a sunset landscape, and then also just seeing the color relativity and also color harmony that is used in order to create a sunset. Okay, so first we're going to talk about is what are the three paintings that we'll be looking at today as we learn how to look and find the color palettes that we'll need to use for the sunset colors, and also how to use the colors by kind of adding a little bit of color relativity into the paintings that we're kind of researching and discovering. So let's go ahead and take a look at our three new paintings today, and these three paintings are all by Albert Bierstadt, and then these three paintings are all based on sunset though, but even though all three paintings are sunsets, they still have very different qualities to them. So let's take a look at our first painting here today, which is Sunset Over the Plains. The second painting we're going to look at is Sunset on Rockies, and the last painting we're going to look at is Yosemite Valley. I don't know how you guys pronounce that one, but that one is also a very beautiful painting. So those are the three paintings that we're going to look at, and we're not going to look at them completely separately. We're going to put them together side by side so that we can kind of see the difference between all three paintings, and then we can kind of bounce back and forth just to see what do they all have in common and what's different from all three of them and what's unique for each individual one. Okay, let's get started. So as you can see, first we're going to look at is, well, we're going to look at all three all together. But if we take a look at all three of them, the first thing that we kind of do notice that they all have quite the similar color palette, and the main color is definitely yellow. Yellow is the one that we do see throughout all three paintings, and it is the color that we use the most out of all three paintings. So yellow seems to be the main color when we want to create a sunset feeling or a kind of sunset vibe that we want to create, because the yellow is nice and warm, it's nice and glowy, and it's creating this very whimsical and magical feeling. So that's the first thing that I noticed when I was looking at the color palette in order to create a sunset landscape. The other thing that I noticed that for the full color palette, the most commonly used for all three paintings that we see here today is yellow, blue, white, and black. Now I'm going to kind of explain a little bit on how I would actually categorize these color palettes, because sometimes when I mention blue, white, and black, they're not exactly the actual color. It's just white would be considered more of the brighter colors, and then black would be considered more of the darker colors and the shadows in the painting. And then the blue would be considered the cold colors in the painting. So not exactly how the colors are named. It's more of a expressional or kind of general idea. Okay, so the other thing that we also do see is that we have a very close relative color to the yellow, which is the orange. So orange is also used a lot in these three paintings, and also earth tones. So earth tones actually are a great middle color and a bridge to kind of tone down and kind of balance out the colors so that it's not too intense or not too bright either. So by adding these three colors together, we already have this nice warm feeling of a beautiful sunset. Now the next thing we're going to look at is, despite all three paintings have a sunset feeling to it, if we look closely at every individual painting over here, they do look slightly a bit different. Now, we're gonna see the reason why they look different. So, how I kind of noticed the three paintings when I put them side by side, I categorized one as cold, one as yellow, or you can also call it warm, and then the other one as warm, yellowy, orange kind of color. So, the sunset over the plains, that's definitely like the warm and the really yellow one. The warm yellow and orangey sunset, which is slightly a bit more on the neutral side, will be the sunset on Rockies, and then the coldest sunset out of all three paintings is Yosemite Valley. And I'll explain why that one is colder than the other two paintings that we see over here. As you can see, the Yosemite this name. Okay, the Yosemite Valley, that one is a lot more colder because we don't see as much of the yellow. That was the first thing that I noticed. And then the other thing is that it's a lot more low-key and neutral colors. So when I mention low-key, it's not, the colors aren't as vibrant. As you can see, if we look to the left side over here, the sunset over the plains, that's like really intense, really yellow and really warm. But if we take a look at Yosemite Valley, it's a lot more toned down. It's a lot cooler. And we do see a lot more of the colder colors because we do see more of the blue sky. We see the bluish green reflection in the left side of the river. And then also we see a bit of like a hue and a tint of purple in the shadows of the mountains. So that's what makes this painting a lot more cooler though, but it does not mean that we don't have that nice sunset feeling anymore when we look at it. Now, if we take a closer look at the sunset over the plains over here, this one is a lot more warmer. The only cold spot that we actually do see in this painting is probably the top right corner, which is like a greenish blue because there's so much yellow going on in this painting. There is slightly bit of a colder part in the top corner, which works out because we do have a lot of neutral colors and not a lot of black and darker tones there, but it's like a warm dark brown. It's probably like a burnt umber and a little bit of green there to it, so it kind of neutralizes the whole painting so it's not too much yellow and too much orange. So it did beautiful. And then definitely the brightest part would be that the sun. That's where the white is. And then over here we see in the sunset on Rockies, we have a lot of the blue tones in the sky as well. Not so much in the reflection of the water though, but it kind of balances out because we kind of could categorize pretty evenly into somewhat triangular shapes. So the mountains over here on the right side would be all dark and neutral, and then you have the colder side, which is the top part of the painting, and then you have the center part. We have this like play button like triangle over here, which is majority orange and yellow. But yeah, so those are like the main things that I discovered out from the 3 paintings. I'm not sure if I do see any other stuff, but the main thing that we want to keep in mind is to have a lot of yellows and warmer colors in order to show the sunset though, and also depending on what kind of feeling you want to share, because the Yosemite Valley one is a sunset though, but we do see a lot of the other secondary subjects in this painting, so the sunset isn't like the only thing that's playing the main role in the painting. We do have a lot of other supporting actors or supporting subjects in this painting to help create this beautiful and well-balanced composition and painting. But yeah. Okay, and that is it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed a little bit on how could we create a beautiful color palette in order to have this magical, whimsical feeling of a sunset landscape. And just by using different colors would give us a very different feeling and a different mood. And then also doesn't mean that when it's a sunset you can't add colder or neutral colors to balance out the whole painting. So usually there is a lot more that's going on than just, okay, usually we would think sunset, probably just yellow, orange, a bit of red, and that's it. But there's a lot more to it. There's also darker tones, there's colder colors, there's warm shadows, and so on. But we kind of discovered a little bit on what we want to have if we were to create our own sunset landscape. Okay, and I hope you guys had fun and enjoyed this brand new episode, and here is a mini exercise for you guys. Feel free to also analyze and look at other sunset paintings or even sunset pictures. Those would be really, really good ways to learn the color palette that you could probably use in a sunset environment, because everything is more or less laid out when we see a picture or a painting that we really like. Then we're like, okay, how can we create something that's similar? So you would actually go ahead and dive into these pictures or paintings and kind of see what you guys can actually dig out from it, kind of like what we did today. Okay, and that's it for today. So I hope you guys have fun looking at some beautiful sunset paintings today, and feel free to comment below if you guys discover anything new or any other things that we want to keep in mind while we want to create and paint sunset landscapes. But yep, thanks again. I shall see you guys in the next episode, but stay creative, have fun, discover, and continue to learn more, and also share what you learned. There is a comment section for a reason down there. We would like to know what you discovered, and I was happy that I was able to share what I discovered. Okay, awesome. See you guys next time. Bye.